When Connor Turner saw the craftsman's gift, a thought crossed his mind. He hadn't seen me in a while. Strange. Clara hasn't come to cause trouble lately. Did she finally learn her place? Exactly. She was spoiled rotten. A little suffering will do her good. His warrior, Duncan Dixon, hesitated before speaking cautiously. Alpha Luna, she's still in that well. Connor's pen stilled for a fraction of a second, then resumed as if the words meant nothing. I assumed she'd had enough by now. Let her reflect a little longer. Duncan looked troubled. She hasn't made a sound for days. And there's a terrible stench coming from down the well. Do you want to check on her? Connor remained indifferent. She's probably faking it, pretending to be all pitiful so we'd let her out. Someone like her would do anything to survive. She's likely already skinned and eaten the venomous snakes in there. With all that blood and rot, no wonder it reeks. Duncan wanted to say more, but Connor cut him off, irritated. Enough. I'll have her released before my birthday banquet tomorrow. As long as she learns her lesson and apologizes to Belinda, I'll let this go. Checking his pocket watch, Connor dismissed Duncan and turned to welcome Belinda Carter, who had just returned from seeing the witch doctor, Tamara Howe. Dr. Howe, how is Belinda? He asked. Tamara's fingers curled around the gold coins Belinda had slipped her, her lips twisting into a satisfied smile. Belinda coughed weakly, her frail body sinking into Connor's embrace. Alpha, I feel much better. You don't have to bear Luna's fault. Connor gazed at her tenderly. You're too kind, Belinda. But don't worry. Clara has been punished. She won't trouble you again. As they shared their tender moment, I chuckled softly behind them. But no one noticed. There was nothing I could do to Belinda anymore. After all, I was already dead. I struggled in despair for days, but even in my final moments, I couldn't lie down and rest. The well was too narrow, too cramped, I couldn't even sit. Days without water had left my hair falling out in patches, my exposed skin shriveled and dry. Venomous snakes coiled around my limbs while maggots and insects feasted on my flesh. When my soul finally broke free, I didn't dare look back at the well. Belinda's eyes gleamed with satisfaction, though she was quick to mask it with a delicate sigh. Alpha, you don't have to do this. I never wanted her to be punished. If you keep going, Luna will end up blaming me. Connor's tone was unwavering. She wouldn't dare. Don't worry. After this, she'll think twice before acting out again. Unless she wants to find herself back in that well. She's always been so proud. But after being trapped down there, forced to relieve herself like an animal, I doubt she'd ever risk this punishment again. So he knew. He knew my pride was everything, yet he chose to strip it from me, to hand me the most degrading death imaginable. My carefully maintained nails raked against the jagged stone walls as I tried to climb. But the moment my fingers grazed the edge, the guard shoved me back down. Then Connor ordered the well to be sealed, preventing any rainwater from reaching the depths, effectively guaranteeing my thirst. Weak and shaking, I stood in the darkness, feeling the insects and snakes gnawing at my toes. My survival instinct screamed at me to lower my head and sink my teeth into whatever I could catch, but the cramped confines denied even the basic movement of a crouch. With the last of my strength, I cast a whisper-bind spell, sending my desperate plea directly to his ears. But all I received in return was his merciless judgment. You're already terrified from a few insect bites. Did you ever think about how helpless Belinda felt when you left her to be torn apart by those beasts? His words snuffed out the final ember of hope. And the irony? The one who ultimately begged for my release was Belinda herself, if only to uphold her gentle, saintly image. After enough sighs and tearful requests, Connor relented, though irritation sharpened his voice. Duncan, get Luna out. Have her cleaned up before she comes to apologize. I don't want her filth staining Belinda's presence. Belinda's eyes shimmered with feigned pain, as if recalling a nightmare. Alpha, when Luna's out, you should comfort her. I know better than anyone how terrifying it is to be alone in the wild for so long. Connor scoffed. Comfort her? She deserves this. Because of her mistake, the convoy left you behind and you were forced to walk alone through the woods for half an hour before making it back to the pack. You were nearly dragged off by a starving beast. I can't even imagine how frightened you must have been. And yet you're still so kind and too forgiving. That's why Clara keeps taking things too far. Connor's so-called righteous fury on Belinda's behalf was nothing short of ridiculous. Just 2 weeks ago, I had led a trading convoy to negotiate with a neighboring pack. Because of my status as Luna, they treated me with the utmost respect, which clearly didn't sit well with Belinda. She cornered me when no one was looking, her voice dripping with venom. So what if you're Luna? The Alpha doesn't even care about you. I didn't bother responding. I simply brushed past her and climbed into my carriage. Yet, unexpectedly, she was unwilling to travel in the slightly worn-down mule cart. Consequently, she was left behind in the wilderness. By the time Connor and his men found her, a giant eagle had its talons wrapped around her. She was battered, trembling, barely clinging to life. With a breath as fragile as a dying ember, she whispered, "I only ever wanted to admire you from afar, Alpha. I never imagined even that would be taken from me. I just hope Luna will take good care of you. Then I'll have no regrets." Connor howled in agony, cradling her like she was the most precious thing in the world. I stood at the edge of the crowd watching with cold indifference. After all, given a werewolf's innate prowess, even the weakest Omega was capable of nocturnal hunts. Bald Igle? It was a triviality, a speck against our might. And Belinda had only been in the wilderness for 3 hours. However, when Connor seized my ear and forced me into the depths of the forsaken well, the facade of indifference shattered. "Clara, Belinda has night blindness, and you left her wandering alone in the dark? Her sister was carried off by vultures when she was a child. She's been terrified of giant birds ever since. Do you even understand what you put her through? I'll make sure you understand that being Luna doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. If you refuse to admit your mistakes, then don't even think about coming out." Even now he sat there arrogant and self-righteous, waiting for me to break, waiting for me to crawl back and admit I was wrong. But this time things wouldn't go his way. "Alpha. Luna." She stopped breathing. Duncan's panicked voice froze Connor in place. I watched Connor closely, searching his face for the slightest trace of regret. But all I saw was mild annoyance. "What did you say?" His voice was cold, distant. "Clara is dead?" Duncan kept his head lowered, not daring to meet Connor's gaze. "Yes. Luna, she was trapped in that well for over 10 days. No food, no water, she didn't make it." Connor scoffed, as if he had just heard the most ridiculous joke. "Oh, she's still bluffing. Fine. If she's really dead, then call the priest for a ritual. Toss her corpse into the sea and let her see where playing dead gets her." His cruelty sickened me. I desperately sought to elevate my soul, to distance myself from him. However, an unseen tether held me fast, dragging me inexorably back. And then I realized the force binding me wasn't Connor himself, but the wolf spirit bracelet he wore. The bracelet, woven from wolf bone and silver thread, was an ancient relic of my father. More than that, it was the token of love I had once given Connor. I used to be like Cinderella, that pitiful girl. My father had been the alpha of the Starlight Pack. But after my mother's death, he remarried and brought another woman and her children into our home. When Dad left for campaigns, those children tormented me for sport. When I was 12, they cornered me yet again, taunting and laughing. That was the day Connor happened to pass by and save me. After that, I began sneaking into Black Claw Pack territory just to catch a glimpse of him. That was when I realized he too was bullied by his siblings. I fell for him completely. So when the moon goddess prophesied that we were fated mates, I was overjoyed. My heart nearly burst with happiness, too blinded by love to notice the flicker of displeasure in his eyes as we sealed our bond. I didn't know then. I didn't realize the only reason Connor married me was for the wolf spirit bracelet. With it, he could win the trust and loyalty of my father's warriors. Until I handed it over, he played the role of the perfect mate. He left water by my bedside each night and brought me fresh flowers when he returned home. I fell even deeper for him. Without hesitation, I gave him the bracelet. With the power of the wolf spirit bracelet, Connor quickly crushed his siblings and claimed the title of Alpha of the Black Claw Pack. But was I truly just a pawn to him? I didn't think so. I wasn't naive. The small fleeting smiles he let slip when he thought no one was watching, the quiet care he still showed me, even after obtaining the bracelet, These were all signs that, despite everything, Connor was slowly falling for me too. Connor's lips curled into a mocking smirk. You really think she'd die that easily? I know better than anyone how tough she is. Belinda laughed, her voice dripping with amusement. That's right. Our Luna is the kind of woman who could stomach a live snake. She may have gone days without food or water, but I believe she'll survive. The gathered maids giggled at the remark, but Connor's smile faltered for just a second. Watching his expression stiffened, I felt a flicker of satisfaction. So you do feel a little guilty after all. I remembered the day when Connor had been captured in a battle against the rogues. To save him, I infiltrated their base camp alone. By the time I reached his cell, I was bleeding, barely standing. But when our eyes met, there was no mistaking the shock and gratitude in his gaze. We disguised ourselves as low-ranking rogue soldiers, blending in to make our escape. It might have worked, until the rogues handed out food, snakes and centipedes, still raw, crawling, and alive. We hesitated. Even as werewolves, we weren't feral. We weren't like them. We had standards. Nobility did not stoop to eating like the mindless beasts we fought against. Connor's hesitation drew suspicion, making them question our identities. I had no choice. Before anyone could question us, I tilted my head back and swallowed those filthy creatures, earning the rogue's trust. Connor appeared shocked. Later, after we successfully escaped, some of the witnesses spread the story. Over time, rumors began to circulate that I had eaten raw snake flesh just to survive. But within our pack, the mere mention of it drew Connor's furious ire. He wouldn't tolerate a single word of it. For a while, things between us were good. I saw it in the way he looked at me, in the rare softness of his smile. For the first time, I thought I had finally cracked through the ice around his heart. But then Belinda returned. She was his childhood sweetheart, the girl who had once comforted him when he was at his lowest. 3 years of marriage, 3 years of effort, shattered the moment she stepped back into his life. I snapped back to the present just as Connor waved Duncan off impatiently. Tell her if she doesn't come out now, she can rot in that well for another month. Duncan visibly flinched but did not move to follow the order. Connor's voice sharpened, laced with undeniable authority. Why are you still standing there? Or do you want to join her too? Duncan trembled and backed away quickly as Connor turned, slipping a possessive arm around Belinda's waist. Belinda, don't go easy on her when she comes out. Make her apologize to you. I don't care if she's Luna. She needs to learn what happens when she crosses someone I care about. Clara, you really think this little stunt will fool me? Connor's words were barely audible, and within them, a subtle, almost swallowed hesitation. As the minutes passed, his patience began to wear thin. Why is it taking so long? Is she still testing me? A sharp edge crept into Connor's voice, betraying his annoyance. I'll see what she's doing, he stated, his voice a chilling blend of coldness and suppressed rage. Connor then marched toward the well. But as he neared the well's edge, a revolting odor assaulted his senses. His brow creased in disgust, and his golden eyes flashed with revulsion. What is that stench? Connor's tone turned sharp and demanding. Clara, what are you doing? I'm letting you out, and you're still refusing? What, planning to live down there forever? He stepped closer, peering into the darkness. Moonlight streamed in, illuminating the bottom. And then he saw it. My lifeless body lay there, still and broken, like a discarded, ruined doll. A chill ran down Connor's spine, his hair standing on end as he stumbled back in disbelief. Who put this disgusting thing in the well? His chest heaved, each breath sharp and ragged. Where's Clara? Find her. Does she think she can escape punishment by tossing a fake corpse down there? Bring her to me now. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of his words. My body was right there. Where exactly did he expect to find me? Alpha. Luna is truly dead. Her corpse is already decomposing. Lies. Do you take me for a fool? Connor roared, drawing his sword in a fit of rage. And in one swift motion, he cut down the warrior who had spoken, his head hitting the ground with a sickening thud. If anyone else dares conspire with Luna in this deception, you'll share his fate. His golden eyes burned with a dangerous gleam as he turned to his warriors. I don't care what it takes. Find her. Connor ordered the well to be sealed shut with iron and sent out his best trackers and hounds across the land. He tore through every inch of land, desperate to uncover any sign of me. Belinda stepped forward, slipping her arm around his waist. Alpha, don't be upset. I'll always be here for you. Connor's grip tightened around her hand, but he didn't pull her closer. His voice wavered just slightly. This time she's gone too far. To stage her own demise? A blatant act of defiance. Don't worry. She will not escape her due. When I retrieve her, I'll make sure she kneels before you and begs for forgiveness. His fingers drummed against the windowsill, the rhythm growing faster, betraying the unease he refused to name. His warriors, known for their flawless tracking skills, scoured every inch of land. Yet no matter how many warriors or hounds he sent out, they all circled back to the same place, the abandoned well. His frustration boiled over as he paced furiously around it, refusing to believe that the corpse inside was mine. Then, as if struck by sudden inspiration, he snapped his fingers. I see it now. She must have used a burrowing technique. That's why the hounds keep leading us here. He turned sharply to his warriors. Go. Bring me the burrowing specialist. I need to know precisely where she vanished. Connor's warriors dug for 3 days and 3 nights, tearing apart the earth around the well. But no matter how deep they went, there was nothing. Only the well remained untouched, sealed under Connor's orders, forbidden for anyone to disturb. At last, one warrior hesitated before speaking. Alpha, we've tried everything. Luna, she might be in the well. Connor's sharp gaze bore into the warrior. After a long silence, he finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Open it. Bring out the corpse. Connor's warriors wrestled with the iron seal covering the well before descending into the abyss and retrieved what remained of me. Finally, after an eternity in the blackness, they pulled my body into the light. It was no longer recognizable, a foul viscous substance that sent waves of nausea through the air. What little was left of me was placed in an icebox carved from frozen blocks and carried before him. His brows tightened as the stench hit him, sharp and stinging. His eyes watered, but he held his gaze, refusing to look away. A long silence stretched as Connor's hand stayed upon the white cloth draped over my remains. Finally, he carefully lifted a corner, scrutinizing my left hand. Thankfully, my hands had primarily remained intact. Avoiding the writhing maggots, he searched until he found my ring. His fingers trembled as he slid it off. That was all the confirmation he needed. I was gone. That ring had been my mother's wedding gift to me. The one thing I cherished more than anything. I had once sworn that no matter where I fled, even to the ends of the earth, I would never part with it. Connor staggered as if something inside him had shattered. His expression twisted, his breathing unsteady. And yet all I felt was disgust. I had died just as he wanted, so why did he look like he was breaking?